this being the dirty secrets of small business, we figured we should have a segment called the Dirty Secret of the Week. So
that's a good idea.
So this is it. We're very creative guys in a lot of ways that way, right, Jack? Sometimes being obvious is good too. So before we get into that, again, we always encourage you as the listeners, again, if you're listening to us live on the radio or if you're listening to the podcast, you can call us in here in the studio from noon to 1 Eastern on Mondays at 440-946-9468. Again, it's 440-946-WINT. If you want to reach us outside of the studios, you can call us at 877-849-0670. You can shoot us an email at radio@maximumvp.com or check us out online at maximumvp.com or hit us up on Facebook. We're on there as well. All right, so our dirty secret this week is one that's near and dear because I think a lot of people started companies because of this, and it was never probably told to you, but you've probably discovered this as part of owning your own company. Okay.
I think that's a good point, Adam. I think that's all. Yeah, many people do start that and don't get the follow-up requisite discussion on it.
All right, so here's our dirty secret of the week, folks. Just because you're good at your product or service does not mean you'll be a good business owner. Okay, let me repeat that.
Yeah.
Just because you're good at your product or service does not mean you will be good as a business owner. All right. So this came from a book that was very inspirational about Jack and I, and we've seen it all over the place. But there's a book called The E-Myth, E-Myth. And it was a great, tremendous inspiration for us. And it's a story about this woman named Sara who's baking pies. And people kept tugging her sleeve because she's working for somebody else. Said, "Hey, you make the best pies, Sara. Why don't you get your own place? I'll come and you'll be your first customer." And Sara eventually goes and gets her own place because Sara makes great pies. And wouldn't you know it, Sara found herself putting in 18 or 20-hour days of doing everything except baking pies.
What else was she doing, Adam? Isn't small business pretty easy that way?
So she's dealing Monday mornings with employees calling off sick. Come back to our scheduling discussion, right? She had her ovens breaking down, getting them fixed. She had her best vendor for apples that also had some sort of disease as part of their apples. I got to find a new apple vendor to make my apple pies, right? I'm sitting down at 10 o'clock at night to go through my books and see what's kind of going on with those. I'm not even sure what those books are, right? There are all these things that she was doing that she spent most of, not all of her time, doing everything else other than baking pies. All this stuff that we talk about.
Other stuff. That's right.
So as an owner, at some point, pretty soon, you're going to get into doing some of these other stuff, right? And you got to, and as you progress, typically what happens is you spend most of your time with that other stuff and not necessarily dealing with producing the product or delivering the service. So if your big desire is to produce that product or deliver that service, maybe owning a company is not quite what you should be doing. Instead of everybody telling you should go do it because you're really good at it, owning a company and being a business owner is very, very different from that.
Well, what we do in our coaching, Adam, we start out with what we call the 3 circles, 3 interlocking circles, which describe any organization. An organization is anybody who, or any group that's pursuing profits, pursuing a goal, and that could even be a non-profit organization. It could be a government, could be a small company working out of the basement. It makes no difference. Every organization has 3 components to it. And the first one, and it's probably 80 to 90% of how business start, is that there's a product or a service in that organization. And that product or service basically starts out pretty easy, but as the business grows and prospers, or at least puts in time over the years, hopefully, many don't make it over the years, they basically start to get more products and services. And they're usually pretty good at that. But when a company's starting out, let me come back to that for just a second, they're very good at a product or service. That's how they start a company. But what they neglect often and don't really understand and grossly underestimate is that the next circle they need to become expert in, or certainly proficient, is marketing in order to drive sales. And if obviously they don't get sales, they aren't going to survive. And the third circle is administration, starting with the people part. The people part, how do you find people? How do you negotiate with them? How do you incentivize them? How do you make them feel part of the year 2016 with their ideas and inclusions and the flexible time that they like and want? And the next is numbers, and we find most people don't understand what their profit and loss is nor how to read it. And those are things that we coach on so that our clients become very, very good small business owners. And then the planning. They don't plan. They don't know how to plan well. So there's more to product. There's more than just product and service. There's the marketing to get sales, and then there's the administration, which in effect runs the company. And that's what Adam's example of this poor girl who baked apple pies and working 20 hours, just wandering in the abyss, many of those hours. A good business coach is going to keep you out of that stuff.
That's right. If you're having trouble following what Jack's kind of going through, you can find a nice visual at our website. If you go to MaximumVP.com, there's a menu item there called the MVP playbook. You'll see a link there that says the 3 circles and gives a nice little visual of what Jack's talking about. And you can realize that, that while the product and service and producing a good product or delivering a quality service is very important, it's only one of those 3 components, and you got to be understand and appreciate all those because they're all very, very important. And for those of you who've been around for a while, understand that's the case because you've gotten exposed to those school of hard knocks, and it exists everywhere. I was just talking to a fellow over the weekend here who reached out and is looking for some help, and he's been in business now for going on 30 years, and he used a phrase that actually came from the E-Myth when he reached out. He said, "I'm looking to work on the business versus in the business." And
that's an often quoted phrase.
I remember when Jack and I first read that book, probably 12 years ago now, and we'd hear somebody use that phrase. Said, "Oh, you've read the E-Myth, right?" And they'd look at me like I got 3 heads. I said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Well, that's where that phraseology comes from. The whole idea of kind of working on it." So the whole idea of working on the business is getting out of that product or service circle and getting into those other areas. And it's a common challenge. People aren't sure what to do. So what this guy was asking me, he said, "Well, you're going to help me figure out what to do, what to work on." Because he wasn't quite sure. He knew he was good at the product side of it, but he wants to expand and grow, and he knows that he can't clone himself. He's got to be able to find different ways to help grow and make his thing thrive and prosper.
So does that make sense to you business owners out there? You're very good at your product, but how good are you on the other parts, those other 2 circles? How good are you at marketing, for example? And I'm not just saying go spend $5,000 for a bunch of direct mail pieces and push them out there, but truly understanding marketing to drive sales, and then the administrative part of your business, especially the numbers. How in the world do you read your financial statements, or worse, you don't?
We spent